Notes to Grace, aka Werevlog, for the sequel of Grace Part 2. The ambulance leaves, Gerald Oldman sees the cat, and then we cut out of it. The cat's eyes, I believe. Second sequence, Tim Berry and Wallace Shawn approach right after the ambulance leaves into where the kitchen is. They see Rainey Love in her, womanly form laying on the kitchen floor with a dagger in her. She's already changed back to human form. They start to construct an iron cage around her. This is like a dream sequence, very Lynchian. An iron cage is constructed around her for the opening sequence of Grace Part 2, for the sequel. It's as if the ambulance drivers and stuff like that and the first responders can't get to her. It's like another dimension opens. And that's gonna be for Grace Part 2 opening. Note to Grace screenplay. Of art is vlogging art, and it's Picasso style rhythm, not abstract visual, but the rhythm is abstract because it's so quick. Capturing is what you see. It could be words, it could be something that you attempt to let them see, and then it just goes by in passing. It can be long shots too, but the heart of it is in Picasso. Well, what I was thinking of a good sound for, let's say, a campaign, a political campaign, Cherub Rock, Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins, that I shall be free. I think he was talking a little bit maybe about the country and himself, possibly. It starts off with a drum roll that's very militant sounding. If you listen to Cherub Rock, it's a little bit political. It's Billy Corgan at his best. Siamese Dream. Check it out. So in my book, Escape from Maine, I returned back to me to talk to me about something that was very private. My first wife and I, Sarah, at the time, we really did live in this apartment complex right here. One night around 1 o'clock in the morning, someone knocked on the door. We lived right there, the top right at 6401 Plaza Parkway. And they knocked on the door, and I didn't look through the peephole. I asked, who is it? And they said, me. And I immediately called the police. The police showed up. We gave a report because it was in the middle of the night. It was too late for a knock like that. So in Escape from Maine, that was me time traveling back to that time. Probably 2006, maybe 2007. I don't know the exact date, but that police report was filed because it was a mysterious knocking, criminal mischief probably, someone knocking on the door that late. Not even door knockers, nobody knocks on the door that late. Don't know who it was, but in the book it was me. I time traveled back to talk to myself about my behavior and probably to change my behavior. I was on a lot of medicine at the time. I think I was on Risperdal and lithium. But in the book, that's where it took place. So I wrote a book. It's a very long book. It's about more than 1,000 pages, called Escape from Me, also known as Escape from Maine, written by Ash Cole, which is my alias. So I write under an alias. And it was very strange. True story. And that was recorded today. Guessing maybe September 23rd, 2023 is the recording of this. When it happened, I don't know exactly. I'm just thinking maybe, no, it was going to be beyond 2007, 2008, probably 2008. It's around the time, not too far around the time when I was doing the independent film Back Page with Richard Massey III. It's probably in that ballpark figure of the exact night. I'm thinking I time traveled back to that time to knock on the door to talk to myself about something. I don't know what it is. It's in the book that I wrote. observation note about the Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, Cherub Rock. Billy Corgan supposedly cut the tail off of a cat. I think this was when he was in high school. He says the words, "let me out." But when he says it, it sounds like he's saying meow. I think it's a confession for hurting that poor cat. Right, kitty? We understand. It's quite the confession, but it also is a song that's about freedom and a bunch of other stuff. That poor cat. But, you know, Billy Corgan's another version of Beethoven, so, you know, it's crazy. This cat has no toe, but he still has his body. Smell you later. All the way from Kentucky. Ultimately analyzing Billy Corgan and the Smashing Pumpkins, I think it was the record store that saved him, because there's so many great guitar players left alone, withered in denial, or withering in denial, because they're just banging on a guitar alone in some apartment trying to form a band. The record store, or even the record music venue, or you could say the guitar shop, can be your savior in trying to be heard, you know, and of course God too. But you have to let people know that you're banging on the guitar and that you're trying to form something. And I think Billy, working at the record store, probably got him started, and then he went forward into the public. Meaning he shared it, he connected with other people, or he would just be alone now, locked in kind of an iron cage kind of thing, John Bunyan style, you know, Pilgrim's Progress kind of thing, just lusting to be heard. He's not that case though. He made himself known. It's Corinthians, it's 1 Corinthians 13:12, you know. Maybe it was God that helped him, but the record store was involved. That's why Tower Records is important in, you know, and what he did. And then he's re-recorded it recently. So it's an homage to those of the musicians. Go to the record store. Go to a guitar shop. Let people know what you're doing. You have to form a band. If it's yourself, if it's like Bob Dylan kind of thing, then you have to go to the Wall Cafe. You have to be seen in the public. Don't just hide your talent. Don't hide your light. Let your light be seen. You know, this little light of mine kind of thing. Right, people that like the Please Subscribe show and the Cole Spivey channel and the Cole and Linda Filmmaker Band, the ticket will cost $631 because of my passion and my idiocracy of thinking I was going to get ahead by stealing a bunch of quarters, nickels, and dimes, and a few bills, which I don't know if it equaled to $20, but it'll cost me $631, or I'll have to ask for an extension. I would be very in debt to you. You would be part of our channel for life, for as long as we can run the vlog. It would be a donation out of the kindness of your heart. My PayPal is listed. We can take up to $5,000 on the PayPal, but they would want $631 by October 10th to set me, I guess, free of everything. I've posted personal bond, which you can always like reset another court date. Or I can attempt to get on what's known as a payment plan, so it's not the end of the world. But it would help us, and we would definitely dedicate a show to you. I told Linda that I was a very stupid person. I always feel that we go from ignorance to genius. So we go from being in the dark and then into the light. So there's a thing about life. We become very stupid, and then we become very brilliant. and that happens. We have to know that. And, you know, people walking around going, I'm the smartest person in the world. Well, maybe at one moment you are, and then you also have to realize that you're stupid too, because stupid things happen. It's very childish of me, you know, and selfish and stupid, and shows a bad side of me. But anyway, regardless, you know, Paul was the chief of sinners, and he wrote great epistles. So we'd appreciate it if anyone's watching this. We're headed to the airport. Wilco's Airline to Heaven live. Apple CarPlay. It's based on a Woody Guthrie song. Quick shot of traffic back to Airline to Heaven. Then we'll eventually see the DFW sign. Linda's also a Smashing Pumpkin fan. This is for Wilco, though. This shot is for pretty much Wilco. I'm kind of camera crow. We'll go to the DFW sign. As Pete Gooch says, a sketching. By the way, Pete Gooch is a genius. When I was in my mid-20s, he invited me into his apartment with his wife Leslie. They cooked artichoke hearts and butter, and I think we had steak, and we watched Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. It was a double feature. It was Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window and James Cameron's The Abyss with special features. Birds are passing right here. I can't get them. I can talk about them. He's hiding at Hip Pocket Theater occasionally. He's a mad genius writer, playwright. VOR, you know what it stands for. Omnidirectional radar. Very high frequency. It messes with your LTE. It's also the Wicked Gate. Right, set timers, stopwatch, all the rest, alarm. There's Delta. All right, so the key for these segments of however long it lasts, and so for financial reasons, ideally I'd want to do the gate, which would represent the Wicked Gate. This could be House of Interpreter kind of stuff. Then we can have this segment. We got the airplanes there. And eventually we would have parking garage going in here. And then a little bit of luggage stuff. And then the drop-off point explaining whatever I got out of the drop-off. And that would be one pass of 10 minutes. It would be 4 of them, 4 to 5, no longer than 40 to 50 minutes for the entire vlog. And then there would probably be a secondary maybe with Linda, so it'd be 2 vlogs a night. One being 40 to 50, the other being maybe 30. That's what I should be shooting for, right? So this segment, 10 minutes. The second one, 10 minutes. The third one, 10 minutes. The fourth one, 10 minutes. 40 minutes. Occasionally a fifth one for 50 minutes. And I have to keep that up until October 9th. I've got to figure a way to dwindle it down. Got me? That's why we set timer. There's another one over there.
We'd love to see you. And if you're around here, welcome home. And to everyone, thank you for choosing to travel through DFW International.
Hello, I'm Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker. Welcome to Fort Worth. Fort Worth is a city of unexpected sights, sounds, flavors, and many neighborhoods to discover.
Okay, so that was Brother Navi. It was, there's a Christian symbol somewhere right over there. I thought I saw it. It was a fish or Ichthys or something like that. Don't remember what. Anyway, yeah. So that was Brother Navi. He's Indian, from India, and very nice guy. Talked a lot about rideshare and deregulation, and in India it's very popular. You know, Uber and all that kind of stuff is very popular. Really cool, nice. He's a really nice guy. I was headed from Austin, so he has connections in Austin, Texas, and is in software engineering. So pretty cool guy. Kind of works under like contracts and things like that. I told him my brother or half brother is also a software engineering guy, but really cool guy. and we're somewhere in Frisco. All right, headed back for number 2. You know, I don't see myself as the best Christian. I have to ask for forgiveness in everything that I do. I can act like it, you know, and I can be honest about the hypocrisy. But even that's what St. Apostle Paul was talking about when he addressed the churches all the time. He never forget to remind people that he was cursed and a sinner and had to ask for forgiveness in order to be right with the Lord. I don't want to come across as a bad guy, but sometimes it's even worse to come across as a good guy, if you know what I mean. But I am a child of God. So there is discipline that's needed. There is self-control. And I do have to ask for forgiveness because I'm certainly not. But I do appreciate Navi telling me that I'm doing the work of the Lord. That does help me. He figured it out before I didn't mention I was a Christian or anything around him. But then the radio station was turned on a Christian song called something about 9 to 5, being a Christian 9 to 5 or something. I think it's 24 hours. But anyway, I do appreciate the compliment. It makes me feel much better. This one's brought to you by Jack Link's Doritos. It's a spicy sweet chili. Rowing one way and looking the other. Religion is interesting because you have Christianity, which believes that Jesus Christ is the Lord and that following his ways are the only ways. And then you have Satanists that believe Jesus Christ is Lord and believe that God is all powerful, but rebel against him. You know, Corgan, who is a proclaimed Christian, wore 666 on an MTV concert. And those that are that type, that are grim or that are gothic and expressive and colorful, are sometimes can be the most gotta make a U-turn. Anyway, they can be the most ridiculed, especially by the church. It goes all the way back to the Salem's witch trials, you know. But that's the attraction of it and the just of it. But okay, Billy Corgan would have been possibly, if he expressed himself that way in society without the music, probably wouldn't be free. But because of the music, and that's what he put first. I mean, he probably put God first, but the music being important to him, and at least an expression of art, then there's no law against it. But there has been laws against music, like NWA and stuff like that, that they legally have prevented them from expressing themselves as musicians until they won, right, in court. It went all the way to the Supreme Court with NWA. And they finally said, okay, fine, sell your music. They would go into the record shops for NWA and arrest the managers for selling NWA, which were hotcakes. Everyone would buy NWA stuff, Ice Cube, all that stuff. Even when I saw Ice Cube at Lollapalooza, he was with a band called Body Count and had a song called Cop Killer. And it was very controversial, and I think it was censored. Billy's music, it was a timer that went off, sorry. Billy Corgan's music and the Smashing Pumpkins were never censored. The church were iffy about them. And if I was a pastor, I would probably compare it a lot to David's Psalms. And there's tremendous amount of violence and darkness and things like that or grim things that are in the Bible. But it would be argued, of course, the church only wants the gospel music, and I understand. But my pastor, who is very well educated in theology, probably more so than any pastor I've come across, which was J. Josh Smith, going to his church was like going to seminary. Going to Sunday school, and the people that taught it was seminary. We were a specialized church in Irving where we were a minority in Christianity. It was MacArthur Boulevard. And I didn't realize the education I was getting, but I was also hanging out with DTS students, which are Dallas Theological Seminary students, and doing plays about Pilgrim's Progress. And I offered to be a pastor at MacArthur, but they prayed with me, and they put hands on me to pray. But I was sent off to do my work for God. But I'm on the side of Billy Corgan, and I'm on the side of Smashing Pumpkins, and always be a fan. I'll never ridicule or condemn them. I think their music is by far beautiful. But what I meant earlier is talking about the Christian, the Satanist, and everything, is that I think, if I'm understanding it correctly, and this is a very hot topic, a special ops topic that MacArthur would talk about, is I think they both see Jesus Christ as Lord. So the Christian obeys, uses self-control, very humid, very quiet, and follows the path of the Lord. And the Satanist understands that Jesus Christ is the commander and the ruler of the universe, but rebels for maybe a reason that has to do with their own body, right? They could have a deformity, or, I don't care what a person looks like, but Billy Corgan, I think he would have made a great movie star, but, he wasn't ideally perfect looking, but he was still a beautiful creature, and especially in music. Nowadays, a scar, someone like Joaquin Phoenix having a scar, or what you would call like a hair lip or something like that, is still seen as beautiful, because he's one of the most he's a very attractive movie star, right? So that's a good thing in society that we're including this, but there's a rebellious side to those types. And whether a Christian looks and calls them a Satanist, you don't know their heart. They could be a profound Christian, right? But the outside of it looks different. And in Christianity, it's important to show the truth about how you are or how you feel, which is the debate on everything. It goes all the way back to the Salem's witch trials, right? It goes all the way back to that, because those that were condemned to be witches, a lot of times it was because of what they looked like, or at least how they behaved. And whether they're witches or not, we'll never know. Obviously, they probably weren't. If we look at Arthur Miller's Plague, The Crucible, and we look at other situations, they probably were not witches, but they appeared to be. So they were hung or they were burned. Now, that'll never happen to Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. I'm sure people have called him a witch, or a male witch, or sorcerer, whatever. They may say the same about me. They said the same thing about Martin Luther, right? When he divorced the Catholic Church, and he was sought out to be burned like his companions. I'm not saying one way or another that Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is a devout Christian, which I think he probably is, because he devoted Zygist to Jesus Christ, the name of all names. So that makes him a Christian in my book. But his music is liberated and free because we're human. You know, if you're a Christian and you cut a fart around another Christian, you'd be forgiven. It's the same thing with language and everything. They just don't see it that way. It's hard. It's hard to exist in a mega church or a Baptist church or just a regular sized Christian church of like maybe 500 or 700, or maybe a church of just 100 where everyone's tight together like a family. And they come up to you and they say, Brother Cole, this music that you're listening to, you think this is family? And I didn't do it when I was with Angel and my children. I wasn't like blasting Smashing Pumpkins around them and stuff. I did it privately, maybe, because I myself am afflicted with something that I don't understand and that I have to ask for forgiveness for. I was a very emotional child, or I was an emotional teenager and would cry out and hit my hand against the wall and things like that. I'm gonna switch it over to Passing Carvana, but I'll talk about it later. All right, there's Carvana. You buy it, they send you a coin in the mail, and then you go to Carvana and they dispense the car to you like a dispenser. I think it's interesting about the Smashing Pumpkins is the sound people that were recording them on their early album, I think Gish, and they were searching out a certain sound, and they worked very, very hard on the Smashing Pumpkins to find the sound that they wanted. Well, that same sound crew ended up working with a band called Nirvana, and I think there's like a connection there. So I'm not saying that they invented Nirvana's sound, but they were a direct result to that, because it, you know, and of course Smashing Pumpkins are still around, but Nirvana were extremely successful very quickly, and it just goes to show one band and something that they do, you know, these experiments they do in the recording, you know, can dramatically affect the next band that they're working on. You know, the work that they do is can affect another band in the studio. You know, like, oh, okay, so you worked with the Smashing Pumpkins? Okay, cool. And Nirvana's like, yeah, we know about them. I don't know the rumor on the truth on that, but that's what I heard in an interview one time. I just learned that cryos, you can do like 1,000 a month donating sperm. In my 20s, I would have been so rich. I would have been able to buy all the equipment for all my art, band stuff, music, film and media. I would have been making like 1,000 a week or more. So much wasted money, especially in your 20s. But anyway, that's what they're doing now. So eggs and sperm. About 1,000 a month, I guess, is what they allow. I don't know if there's a cap on it. I don't know if it's 1099 or W2, but it's mostly neither. That's what they're saying. Now it's time for the purple cleansing. Isn't that nice? Yeah, there's like two sides also that, you know, Siamese Dream, when they re-recorded the Tower Records, it's cool to see, and going back and see Billy in the 90s, it was like, what, 93? It was 3 days before my birthday that Tower Records concert happened. It was July 26th of 1993. And then to see them, you know, mature and advanced and their voice is different, more controlled. It's just an interesting experience to go back and forth and review the two different, you know, bands at that time. The beauty of both, you know, is interesting. Of the old and the new, you know, the young and the old, I guess is what you would say. It's an interesting concept. I think it is. The Rolling Stones have done the same thing too, and they're still at it too. The Rolling Stones are. Music is kind of, there's a vampirism aspect, you know, an immortal aspect of staying young for, you know, in heart for so long. You know, it's amazing. It preserves youth. Linda just got a hold of me. She's on the 4th lap. She was a sprinter in high school. She's calling. I gotta take this for a minute. She's out exercising. All right, that was Linda. She was out. She's walking on a track, but she's also kind of jogging. So she got in touch with me. I think she was doing like 3 or 4 minute laps or something. But she was a sprinter in high school. And the rumor, I think, is Coach Carter, or no, I always forget his name. But anyway, some coach felled her with a 69. And it's gone on in her life for many years. I guess she graduated, God, I don't even know. Let's see. So in high school, I graduated in 1993. So if I tried to ask Linda out at that age, I would have definitely got in trouble with the authorities. She would have been like in junior high or something, 9 grades back. I'm 9 years older. I'm 50. She's 42. I was like, God, I remember when I was 42, all the energy. But I guess, you know, I'm okay with numbers, but you know, if I was, you know, 19, she would have been 10. It's not too bad. But if I was, you know, 29, she would have been 20. So it's a 9-year difference. Angel was a 10-year difference. It seems like the wives that I've had, they've always been roughly 9 to 10 years younger. I don't know why, but I try to walk as much as I could. When she left me for 3 months, I went on this whole jogging thing. If you follow the vlog, I was doing like 2-hour jogging and stuff like that. Then she eventually returned, but I'm okay. You know, I'm okay now. We have a very unorthodox marriage. You could say it's a common law marriage. This is the little pass to the airport.
Warmay kaas waxa samaysan meel baan galayaa isoo kala tuur kaas oo soo wiciye. Let's do Dr. Pepper.
All right.
That's about it for
All right. Cheeseburger with onions and fries, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Show you my YouTube show. It considers like In-N-Out, double doubles, and cheeseburger.
Okay.
And I've got a person that works in the fast food industry, so it's part of our show. All right. So, guy from originally from Somalia, but he's been here since like 2007. He's a CDL truck driver, but really enjoys In-N-Out Burger. Got himself a In-N-Out Burger with fries with Dr. Pepper. Pretty cool dude. I gotta air out the car.